Hey, this is Russell, and I work at the Video Store, the place that you can go to once a week whenever it is movie night. I love this job. I get to talk about movies and series with my friends when the store is quiet, and then interesting people pop in to rent something. We can help you figure out what you can be watching on streaming platforms and out in cinemas. All right, let's do it. Let's open up the shop.
Did you see that thing yesterday on the TV? It was ready, interesting!
Okay, good morning.
Morning, Russell.
Hello.
We have Cole today,
That's me.
and we've got G-Force,
Hello.
and we have got a lovely day at the Video Store for you.
Aw.
It is a bright, crisp summer's day here, and in a short little period of time, we are going to have Adam, the drag icon,
Oh, brilliant.
pop in to rent something.
Love Adam.
Nice.
We have had shows put on by Adam, so as the Bioscope, we have dealt with him, and when Adam then becomes this incredible drag persona, she is incredible.
Yeah.
And very talented, just the most incredible voice, and also just one of the most hardworking individuals. And for those who tune in every week, you are in for a treat, because you really get a great look as to how this interesting life happens for someone.
Wow.
You know, how does someone do drag full time or be able to do it full time? And you get a sense of where they came from and how they put it together and what they wake up and do every day, which I
Cool.
think is fascinating.
Yes.
For those who are fans of Adam, who are now listening to us for the first time, welcome to the Video Store. We've got a great day here where we're going to talk a little bit of cack.
Yeah, that's quite a
And
bit of coke.
Then Adam will pop in and we'll have a good chat. And then please stick around for after that chat, where myself, Cole and Graeme are going to talk more about the movies that we're watching, the TV shows we're watching. And at the end of the day, we're here to help you figure out what you could be watching.
Yeah.
All right. One little order of business. The good people at Empire Entertainment are putting on a screening of The Beekeeper
Yes.
this week. That is the new Jason Statham action romp,
Yeah.
which looks like a good Jason Statham action romp.
Jason Statham against bees.
I don't know whether there's actual bees involved. But we have tickets to give away to the premiere, so you can
Yes.
watch it before anyone else. In the week that this episode is coming out, that is going to be on Thursday in both Joburg and Cape Town. So have a look
Cool.
out on our Instagram, which is the Video Store Pod, where we're going to give away some tickets.
Nice.
So there is that. I would love to just mention I've had the most incredible week.
Nice.
The
Good for you.
Bioscope has been a little quiet, and that is because we have been hard at work with a very exciting upgrade, which after the guest chat, after Adam, we can talk more about. But basically, the Bioscope is upgraded to a very fancy sound and projection setup,
Yeah.
which is now meaning that we can do bigger studio releases.
Mm-hmm.
So all the films that are exciting, that we are talking about, that we as the Video
Yeah.
Store have been going out to watch, we can screen those at the Bioscope now.
Cool.
So I'll give a little breakdown and explain what that is, but that's very exciting.
Total game changer.
I am still buzzing from a very exciting show at Kirstenbosch.
Cool.
Yeah.
With Short Straw, myself and Gad, who's another member of the Video Store. We played to a sold-out, very beautiful Kirstenbosch, and it was really, honestly, one of the shows I'll remember forever.
Nice.
Wow.
They never get old.
No.
That view, looking up that hill and seeing close to sort of 6,000 people
I see.
all singing along, all having the best time,
Nice.
is exciting. And it was great to play with El Bear, which is a band that we've done many shows with over the years. Also fun, catchy indie band.
Cool.
Oh, did they come back?
So they've come back. So one of the last times we played Kirstenbosch was when they chose to disband. They all had other things that they then went and did. And then we got word that they were looking to come back for just one or two shows.
Nice.
And so we did Kirstenbosch again together. And then in the week of this release, this coming Saturday, we are going to play Marks Park in Joburg
Okay.
for Large on the Lawn, which is also going to have Matthew Mole, who has also been a loyal customer of the video store, and Will Lindley, who's a very exciting new superstar coming out of South Africa.
Cool.
So yeah, it'll be a good show. So those tickets are, you can go to shortstraw.co.za for those
Nice.
tickets. Just worth a little punt because it's nice and exciting.
Cool.
Yeah, you got your own podcast, you got your own cinema, and your own band. Like,
Right.
Why?
hunt them on your fucking show, man.
Lovely. But boyos,
Yeah.
have you got some stuff to do?
Yeah. I've got to go vacuum the storeroom again.
You're gonna
Sorry,
vacuum
it's a
the
mess
storeroom.
in there.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to go take that copy of Basic Instinct away from those kids.
Put that down. All right. Thanks for listening and joining us today. We've got a lovely day. So let's get into it. This is Adam popping in to rent something.
We really are diving in, huh?
Oh, yeah. No, we
Well,
don't.
I got here. We're not fucking around at the bioscope today.
No, we don't mess around. And also, sometimes you get little gems before you start. so-
Right. Literally.
But,
I'm so jazzed.
Well, how's it?
Ugh, man. It's great. How's it with you?
Very good. It's nice to see you again.
I'm so happy to be back. Can I tell you? I'm exhausted from the tour and doing all that shit with oh, can I swear?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Okay. Wow, probably should have asked first. Doing all that stuff with Trinity and doing the big shows and getting all that stuff done. I'm
Yeah, tell me about that and who Trinity was. Is.
We killed at the end. We basically that was mine and Theo. So Theo and I run a company called At Media. And we are an events company, I suppose, but mainly a live entertainment company and artist management.
Specializing in the drag world.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Internationally so. So this was our first, Theo and I started being the main driving force behind bringing international queens through a different company before. So international queens being winners or contestants from RuPaul's Drag Race and
Awesome.
stuff like that. So Trinity is a winner. Trinity won RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars season 4. And she's actually a friend of ours because they brought her a few years back, and there was this. It's actually so much drama because originally it's so much drama because originally we booked a different drag queen, and then that drag queen cancelled last minute,
Okay.
and I knew Trinity, so we called her and we were like, "Cole, please, can you convince this dumb bitch to just fucking show up? Why is she
Yeah.
canceling?" And Trinity was like, "I could convince her, or
I could go.
I could just do it. I'm going to be in South Africa." And we were like, "Why are you in South Africa?" She was like, "It's a secret." So I was like, okay, sure thing. I fully know the secret because I got the same casting. But it's everything just aligned. And then we did the show and it was such a success.
So you sort of toured as if you were a band. In
yeah,
the sense
well,
that
we
you
always
went,
tour, yeah.
You go to different nightclubs, right?
No, theaters.
Theaters?
Yeah. Before it used to be more nightclub shows, but this specific one was very theater oriented. We wanted to make sure it was high production value, really next level stuff because it was our first one independently,
Oh, that's
and
cool.
we needed to just be the coolest people around.
And you pulled it off and it's done.
It's so done. I literally 2 days ago I cried. I was sitting and looking at footage because it hadn't sunk in, and I was just I'm not stressed anymore. I'm so happy this was pulled off. It worked so well. So coming down from all of that has been so fun, and now I never want to work again. It's great.
I know from our time together that you work hard.
Russell.
No, but I know that. I could tell that you are that hustler and that you came in with professionalism and other brands, and we were doing cocktails and our drag extravaganzas were
Hell
always
fucking yeah.
were always a success. So
Hell yeah.
Excuse
me.
Yeah, let's sort of get into it. How does it all work for you? What do you wake up every day and do? You put on these events.
So I recently I have been wow, not the West Hollywood gay fantasy, but recently I've been like going to the gym a lot. Like I wake up and like go to the gym. Like I say early, it's absolutely not early. It's not early. I like get to the gym at 10. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's
wow.
late for,
I know.
for so many people.
It's fully the middle of the morning.
Yeah.
And I wake up and I'll go to the gym, whatever, and then Theo and I will convene, my business partner. We will convene and we'll discuss like a bunch of stuff. We plan out our month, and then we kind of I'm a believer in like a written calendar.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, right? It's kind of impossible. Well, it was not this. It was kind of impossible to like make a career out of being a drag queen in South Africa.
That's what I want to kind of get a sense of for people.
Yeah.
You're performing most of the time, hey?
I do this full time.
Yeah, but I'm saying, are you behind the scenes or you
Both.
in front? Yeah, so you
Both.
do a bit of both.
Both equally and both a lot. I am addicted to working. I think
Yeah.
it's like my coping mechanism. I
Yeah.
love working because the thing is, especially like the one half of the work is really, it's tiresome, but it's really amazing. I'm
Okay.
sorry, but like,
And which half is that?
the performing part.
The performing part.
Because if you're any performer worth their salt, I mean, you're going to be giving a really good show. You have like hundreds and hundreds of people, sometimes thousands and thousands of people like screaming your name, chanting for you, like giving you energy, and like you feel it. Like when I did Adidas X Richard Nisi, when we did 2 Million Icons earlier in the year, I mean, there were people, or thousands of people, like all the way to the back of this warehouse.
Yeah.
And I was like on the stage, doing Beyonce,
Yeah.
feeling like Beyonce. And I'm sitting there going like, this is amazing. This was worth all the hassle of like I said, waking up in the morning, getting with Theo. Then we take a look at the written calendar, and then we go, this date could use some more stuff. And then we get an event proposal, and then we'll pitch it to a bunch of like people that we know would want to work with us. Like the people, the folks who run Even After All. I think it's still Mark and Marcel, right?
Yeah.
Right, lovely guys. We'll message them or someone who like we know, and we'll be like, hey, do you guys want like a really cool event? Like, here's this concept. We'll do it, and then we'll see how it goes.
But I'm curious to know, in that moment, what do you think the appeal is
Of drag?
Yeah, because just to sort of outline it for someone who perhaps hasn't experienced it,
Mm-hmm.
as you said, you're kind of in some ways you're singing along a lot of the time. You could be doing original performance or actual mic hot singing.
Yeah,
but
which I do.
Yeah, I know you do, but a lot. Could I say a lot of the time it's lip syncing?
99% it's lip syncing.
So it's this kind of, it's an interesting show in that regard. What do you think the appeal is?
It's a fantasy. That's
Okay.
why people go along with it, and when I'm booking artists and the talent that I get to manage, I am looking for people who kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It's like embody what they're performing. It is a fantasy that you're selling people.
Yeah.
We all know that we're lip syncing, but what's your point of view with the lip sync? What are you doing? You sell this like fantasy to people. It's kind of like, so drag and nightlife kind of are super like hand in hand, because at the end of the day, nightlife and like partying is about people kind of like aggrandizing themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I
you
mean?
think, tonight's going to be the greatest.
Yeah. And
And-
I'm the shit, and that's why they treat us so bad. Not drag queens, people working out, because also I run a lot of stuff at Babylon for my sins. I hope
Yeah.
y'all are listening.
But it's just interesting because, I don't know whether you could have just a pretty woman being a woman lip syncing. Like, they would never get away with it. There's something about the idea of it now being in drag. So there is this fluidity in gender. There is something more fantastical.
Well, that's what drag is, right? Drag is showmanship. Because, for example, there are lots of people like, do you know Dita Von Teese?
The name rings bells? Yeah.
Dita Von Teese is like a burlesque icon who's currently living. Burlesque is drag.
Yeah.
Those women are wearing, like, for example, there are also lots of like AFAB drag queens and a lot of like queens who were born female and a lot of trans drag queens, because transness and the gender of drag isn't necessarily that big a play. It is to me and a lot of the South African scene.
Yeah.
But like, it's about being over the top. It's about the glitz and glam. It's like, how can you make that into something bigger? So
it almost doesn't matter what definition or box you are
Yeah.
in. It's just by virtue of you doing this over the top show.
well, if I'm seeing a little boy in a ratty wig, you
Yeah.
know, in a YDE dress doing a
Yeah.
lip sync, I'm going to be like, that's embarrassing and that's not drag.
Yeah.
That's just me being an elitist. No, that's just me gatekeeping. No, that's just me like,
that's the point.
it's
Yeah, the
quality
point-
control.
And so the audience comes to appreciate like the costume, the outfit,
Absolutely.
the show of it, and that is its appeal.
And the point of
Okay.
view, you know.
And the fun of it, I
it's
guess.
so fun. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
It's so fun. You break, a lot of my shows are super interactive, and that's kind of, you know, Theo and I did drag brunch here. We started drag brunch here, and that has kind of like got a mind of its own now. We've like
'cause
expanded to
you
Cape
could
Town.
you
and
could almost argue sometimes it could be a bit early for a drag brunch, but like
But
that's
that's-
what's the fun of it, is disrupting that.
that's our most successful event.
Yeah,
People love drag brunch.
'Cause it's
because
different, yeah.
also it's kind of like a queer. I hate using the word queer out of academic stuff. It's like
Sure,
people
sure.
use queer for everything. Sorry, as a complete side note.
yeah. No, well, I also appreciate that because sometimes it can help you encompass just the scene in general.
of
So
course.
yeah.
But it is a queer staple to go and drink in the morning with your
Okay.
friends.
That's a thing. Yeah,
So combining that with like the queer staple of wanting to see drag, it makes the most perfect thing.
Okay, cool.
Drag brunch is so dope. Drag brunch is so dope. The only thing that sucks is when I do it, I need to wake up early on a Saturday. And I don't drink during or before my shows.
Yeah.
So I don't get to party with my friends, but it's kind of nice because then they give me money. So
But
whatever.
you're working. Yeah.
Yeah. But drag is the appeal. My strength in this world is my ability to convince people of doing, or rather my persuasiveness. Mine and Theo's entire thing is we go to like a restaurant.
Persuading people to turn drag friendly.
Right.
Okay.
Or to go to a venue, for example, and be like, you know what y'all need?
Mm.
A drag queen. I performed over here.
Yeah.
I've done stuff at Peachy. I've done stuff at Even After All. I've done stuff here.
But like
I'll
the
go-
Bioscope, for example, I would imagine the shows we've done were for 100% appreciating audience.
Yes.
They knew what they were coming
Yes,
for. Do you
absolutely.
enjoy the disrupting? Do you enjoy like going up
Absolutely.
to the people that you know would never have found themselves at a drag show,
Absolutely.
but here you are, baby.
Hell yeah. Because
Okay.
you know what the thing also
Is that almost as fun as going to someone who is receptive?
It's so fun because those are usually the people who are the most fun in the audience. Because
Yeah.
they're always shocked at
And they don't know
'cause
what to do.
Here's the thing, right? I am currently in like a very public fight with a very degenerate, nasty brand of very poorly put together burgers at
Okay.
a little known bar next to Babylon.
Okay.
Hogshead. No, I'm kidding. And I think a lot of people's introduction to drag in South Africa was through that venue. And I am not a person who, like, a lot of people, when they think of like going to a drag show, they think there's going to be like an old drag queen who's going to make fun of them and like
Okay.
do some like overtly
I don't know whether people
sexual
honestly
stuff.
know what they'd be in for.
That's what I'm saying. But
Okay.
I think that's always the first port of call because that's all we've kind of been exposed to on TV in South Africa.
Yeah.
It's like drag queens are like these old chain smoking, and it's not true. We're young chain smoking drug addicts.
Yeah.
No, but it's like, you know, those old chain smoking people who's gonna like read you and be
No,
like,
sure,
oh,
got
doll,
you.
whatever, blah blah blah. And I think the excitement that people feel when they come to like, I would call our shows like a modern drag show,
Okay.
is so fun.
In my experience with you guys, and I say that because there have been a few others that have also come to the Bioscope.
Yeah.
It's amazing how sometimes guys are calling on a traditional
Yeah.
thing, and they would be like, "I want to do it like that," or "I
Yeah.
want to," and that could be something that is long forgotten, and so that's quite cool
Absolutely.
to go back to that. And I loved meeting someone who, was born female who drags as a male, which was
Whoa,
also
a
kind
drag
of
king.
a drag king.
Yeah.
And in my very open ignorance, I was like, I've never heard that term.
Yeah.
Please explain.
Yeah.
So one question I have before we get into our great
perfect.
loves, and I want to
I'm
kind
so
of go through that
excited.
part, is you perhaps just help me understand, and perhaps they could also help others. You have kept the name Adam,
Yeah.
which we've spoken about.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice to perhaps just talk about that on the show. How are you with that and pronouns? What is your take on all of that?
Okay.
What is your position so that I can also understand?
I'll break it up into a couple things. With regards to like how to refer to me or whatever, I am not finicky about any pronoun type of stuff. I identify as a male person. I have never had any kind of gender dysphoria. I have never experienced any of that. To be honest, I just like I think that drag obviously is very closely related to like the trans experience, and like a lot of people's like experiences with gender dysphoria gets like showcased you know when they start drag, and it kind of builds into something else. But I am male identifying. I don't really mind what pronouns. I do think it's really hilarious when drag queens call each other he.
Okay.
Especially when they're in drag. And when I'm in drag, I like to be called she because I'm very feminine presenting in drag. And nobody read me for that. I am very feminine presenting.
But that's
in drag,
the feeling.
So.
Is that so? Then once you're in that character, which is still called Adam,
Yeah. So
you would then want to be a she.
yeah,
When you're in the outfit.
yes, of course.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the reason that I kept my name, there are two reasons. There is a a pragmatic business related reason, and there is a more subconscious reason. Pragmatic reason being I've been working in drag, like the drag scene, since 2019. But I only started being a drag queen in 2021.
Yeah, I remember you used the phrase "I was drag adjacent,"
Yes.
which I thought was a very interesting term.
Yeah, I have been drag adjacent for very long. I started hosting drag shows.
Okay.
I was the MC essentially.
Yeah.
And
In a normal outfit.
I was doing a little sun and I wasn't in like wigs and makeup and stuff, but I would like corset myself, or I would, for example, when I got the opportunity, to run my first big show, I remember getting to the rehearsal, and I knew nothing, but one thing about me, I will fake it, and I will I will improvise, but I will improvise.
Yeah.
These shows that I do here, what Theo and I do, because my strength comes from improvising. I'm funny on the fly.
Yeah.
I'm not a joke writer.
Yeah,
But
well, I just think that's amazing that the job really has you become a stand-up comic.
Of course it is, especially my part of it. So what we do is we write on a piece of paper. Theo sits in the front row. There's topics. I look at the topic. I talk about it. I never fumble over my words. I never do any of that. That's my strength. So why was I talking about that?
You being an MC.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So I was just winging it, and then
were the outfits getting more and more drag as your hosting went on?
well, a little. I was getting more budget, but I had no choice but to do drag. I know that sounds ridiculous.
It was a calling.
It was always a calling, definitely.
Okay.
Entertainment is definitely my calling. I am a well-rounded entertainer, and I studied it at Wits. I studied music at Wits. I did the works. But with drag specifically, Theo and I, during the pandemic, at the end of, or let me rather say the beginning of 2021. It was 5 days before payday in January, we got retrenched. And they said, we are not paying you. And I had just moved into a new apartment. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
My skills right now can't be harnessed because everything is closed. What are we going to do? And Theo and I sat and smoked a box of cigarettes together. And we were like, we're going to start this company. And we started our company maybe 3 or 4 days later as a marketing company, actually, mainly. And we did the first drag brunch February 1st. And we went to a bar in Melville, and we basically said to them, listen, we got to do this. But in my heart, I could not ask on my friends to get into drag for free and perform.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can perform for free myself.
Yeah, I'll do it.
So I'll do it. And I was like, I'd seen enough drag shows by then. I mean, I had been working.
Had you not done drag
Never.
at that point? Okay, you'd
Never.
seen enough, you'd hosted it,
Yeah.
but you'd never actually taken the leap yourself.
Never. But I knew I was a very capable performer, and that's why they hired me to do that. So, and
Yeah.
I was doing musical theater, so it was like,
Yeah.
so
That's what
I
started
just-
it.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, I can pay myself, and I did that drag brunch in a pair of jeans.
Mm.
I was in jeans and like a cropped sweater and a beehive.
Lovely.
I'll show you the pictures. It's disgusting. But anyway,
And
then we started
the
it.
rest is history.
Yeah, and I kept my name because, so that's a pragmatic reason. I always started the shows with everybody say, "Hi, Adam," and they always did it.
Yeah.
And then when I started drag shows, I was like, all these
It's
drag
a great
people.
name. In a way, it's a great name because it actually sort of brings there's a little biblical kind of
first
nod
man.
and there's something kind of
I love it, and I always capitalize my name when I'm in drag, like the full name.
and I loved how when I was designing the poster for our one
Yeah.
event at the Bioscope, you said, and it never felt pretentious and or I don't know what the word is, but none of the experience was negative. Where you said, "I want you to say drag icon Adam." I got it. I got it immediately. I was like, "That's branding, baby! Like
Yeah,
this is
it
the world.
is.
This is the world."
But that's true.
And if you get to write your own narrative,
yeah.
if you want to be a drag icon, then fucking
And
put
you
it
want
on
to
the
know
poster.
something? That about at the time, especially that was the first one that we did. At the time, which by the way, it's my annual one woman show time coming up
Oh
soon.
yeah, we must
So,
maybe try find a spot for you.
Yeah,
again.
I would really
A
like it.
Christmas drag extravaganza.
Yeah, as we do every year. It's my only one woman show I do every year, and people like,
Okay, let's try. We'll find a spot for it. Yeah.
hell yeah. Okay, so I at the time that I did it, that was the best show I'd ever done when I did it. And then last year when I
Lovely.
did that show, that was the best show I had ever done.
Oh, lovely.
I came here and I did the best show. I got full standing ovations both shows. It was amazing to come and do it here. And I wasn't an
cool.
icon. I was not.
Yeah.
But now I fucking am. Hell yeah, I am. I am.
Yeah.
I don't mean to sound funny about it, but I am generally clients and companies' first go-to booking person for drag right now.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I'm very grateful to, everyone that like
It's for a
sees me and
handful.
helps
It's
me
for a
and does
handful of reasons. Some of the reasons being what you've established and your hard work and your great show, but also just the hard work.
Thank you. And I speak about it like this because at the end of the day, Adam the drag queen, and this ties into the esoteric reason why I keep the name, is me. It is me. I don't really change when I put on the wig. I don't become like a character. But Adam the drag queen is my company's biggest product. For real. So when I talk to you
it was
about
your first product,
right. So when I talk to people about it and I'm like, she's pretty fucking iconic right now, and it seems a little conceited, yes, I suppose it is. But I'm just proud of this thing that it took a team of people to build.
Yeah.
I drive the shit around. I move all of the stuff around. But it's, there's wig designers and like clothing designers, and we're sitting with like choreographers, and we're sitting with tech
Lovely.
people, and everything comes together to make that thing that we sell. So I'm very proud of that thing that we sell. I'll tell
Lovely.
you that. And there you go.
Lovely. Okay. So I want to just get a little glimpse of your life. I want to see how we've gotten to this Adam, the drag icon as we speak.
Yes.
So we've got
Oh
our four great loves,
Okay.
which are the films that you've loved across your life.
Yes.
And the first is your puppy love film. And I'm curious to know what films came to you in like nursery school, primary school,
Okay.
that you loved, that you think set you on a course, or maybe didn't.
Well, here's the thing. I've always loved production value. I
Okay.
love a production value. So what gravitates me especially towards like I don't like to be the diva who's like, I have ADHD. I don't have ADHD, but I struggle to focus for very long unless I'm being taken on like a journey, and that has always been the same for me. Like when I was younger or whatever.
Yeah.
So when the only movies that I've ever really, really loved are like fantasy movies
Cool.
that like take me into another world, and there's like immersive
Totally.
language, and like everything was so cool. Like when I was younger, I was kind of raised as an only child, so I genuinely only had like
Where'd you grow up?
in Greenside.
Cool.
Oh.
Joburg.
Yeah, really
Cool.
fierce, really fierce. My mom like made it. I am colored. So surprise. So
okay.
my mom kind of like, I grew up just as my mom started making it after apartheid ended.
Okay.
So she like always wanted to take care of me, and we went to Greenside or whatever. And that also ties into all of this stuff, because my mom and I, every Saturday, she used to make it like a big thing. We would go to the cinema at Santon City, and we would choose a movie,
Oh,
and
that's
we would
lovely.
go and watch it every Saturday for like 2 years.
Well done, Mom.
And I know, it's really fierce. Every single Saturday. The only movie I didn't watch, which I regret not watching, was Robots. Do you remember
Oh,
the
yeah,
animated Robots with Jennifer Coolidge as Aunt Fanny? Get into
Robin
that.
Williams was in it.
Robin Williams was in
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Hell yeah. Star-studded cast of Robots.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it was always fantasy movies.
What are some of the big ones that stuck out for you?
So I want to save it for the teenage section, because one of them
Okay.
in particular really gagged me and continues
Okay.
to gag me. It's like my
Gag
go-to.
you.
I was like gagged.
Okay. Yeah.
So I want to save it for that. But like when I was like much younger, I mean, I used to love watching like witches and wizards and warlocks and stuff. It's a terrible movie. Which I since realized as an adult, but like I was gagged by Aragon. I was like, wow.
Aragon.
Imagine Aragon. Yeah, because I was like, there's a dragon, you guys. Like, whoa. I was so gagged. And I was such a nerdy kid.
Okay.
I only really got like social and like friends really around grade 10, because I consciously went like, I think I need to have friends that
I gotta
aren't my
work.
parrot.
I gotta
Yeah.
work on this. Yeah.
Yeah, it was literally like, all I do is hang out with my parrot and play Skyrim. Like, I need to like be with people. What the hell?
Interesting. Okay.
So because I love other worlds.
Yeah.
Literally, I just love being somewhere else. So when I was a kid, I don't really remember any standouts. I watched a lot of movies.
Okay.
We
it was-
watch movies,
But it
all
was
the time.
instead of this is interesting. Instead of one movie, it was this regular movie.
Yeah.
And I think that almost becomes the film itself. Was just like
Oh yeah.
the activity of going to the cinema,
Yeah.
loving those fantasy films.
Yeah.
Okay, well let's dial ahead. Where did we go to high school?
I went to Cares.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, very
Okay.
interesting.
So all boys school,
all boys school, rugby, oriented.
quite a traditional.
You could say
school.
homophobic. You could say
I didn't say
homophobic.
it, yeah, but did you feel it?
Yes, incredibly. From the teachers, actually in 2020, I don't know if you remember, there was this big hullabaloo on the news about like schools coming out as racist and homophobic and people writing stuff.
I mean, I could never remember
Oh,
a singular
God, yeah.
moment when that happens. But
We all repressed it.
at this point, were you coming out?
I came out of Cares.
You
I
came
did
out
come
at
out of
Cares?
Cares. I came out in grade 11. And I left shortly afterwards. I just didn't feel
Once
or
out,
safe.
it wasn't a good space.
It was, but I was always anxious, and I mean, I was always anxious there. I had a really, unsurprisingly, the drag queen had a bad time at, Cares. But I had a really bad time in high school. So I didn't really want to be around there and feel like at the time, the thing that I thought was the most compromising thing in the world about me was now out in the open, and I was like there
Yeah.
for the vultures. You know what I mean? So I left, but in the time that I was there, I mean, like, again, like I told you, I was like going home playing Skyrim and watching Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Watching Lord of the Rings, I think, is an understatement.
Yeah.
For what in high school, all I used to watch was the same 3 comedy specials by a comedian named Dara O'Brien in the UK. The same 3 ones on YouTube. I would come home and watch them every day, and I would watch Lord of the Rings.
Interesting that you were the combination. What was the comedy? Sorry, I don't know who that comedian is.
It's like observational comedy. Love stand-up comedy. I have Joan
Yeah.
Rivers' signature tattooed on my arm.
Cool.
I
And who was the comic? Was the comic a queer comic?
No, his name
Okay.
is Dara O'Brien.
Yeah.
Still is. He's
Yeah.
alive. And I still love his stuff. But I used to come home. I used to just think he was the funniest person in the world.
That's interesting. So there was this combination of fantasy and comedy.
Yeah.
And how those two sort of just went side by side every day.
Yeah, hell yeah. When I was in high school too, I also used to like pride myself. So I have like a big CD collection.
Yeah.
I used to love CDs and DVDs. I used to go to Musica and I would just find like little. I used to love like I don't know how to explain it, but like movies like Joyous Noise. But like
What's
movies like
Joyous Noise?
exactly right. It was the movie starring Dolly Parton and Queen Latifah,
Ooh.
and two competing church choirs.
Okay.
I was like, I used to love that stuff. I used to love it. And
Joyous
like,
Noise.
Joyous Noise.
That's a
and
cool
I
name.
used to love like Cadillac Records. Cadillac Records with Beyonce in it. Did you ever see it? I have Etta James' signature tattooed on me here as well. Beyonce played Etta James.
Okay.
And it was like this beautiful musical biopic because I also used to love singing blues and soul, and that was the kind of stuff that I grew up on and did.
Yeah.
And actually at the it doesn't matter. I get so sidetracked.
Okay. No, but one question was, so in Cares, there was no other folks like you that you could find a clique with?
There were other.
Because I'd imagine in a boys' school with lots of boys, there must be some boys that like other boys.
Well, there were, right? But I don't think I was much of a looker when I was 15. And also, I wasn't going to try find out. I mean, there were some people where you'd go like, yeah, definitely. Especially as a gay man, you can see.
Yeah, but they maybe didn't. They maybe hadn't admitted it yet.
Right. We were all in the closet, you know?
Okay.
And there was a lot of moments of solidarity where like people who I know who have come out now were like, you know, in high school they'd be like, hey, do you want to come hang out with us? And we'd like sit and talk or whatever. And there was always like a bond.
Yeah.
I mean, just the other day, someone from Cares, I was at Babylon working, and someone from Cares like tapped me on the back and was like, hey, do you remember me? And she had fully transitioned.
Interesting.
She was like, I was like, yeah, wow, you were so quiet. She was like, yeah, it's because I'm so trans.
Yeah, interesting.
And not really living. It was crazy. In my grade, like I did PE with her. So it was wild. And there wasn't really anyone, hey. Okay. There wasn't really anyone that I knew. Do you know who was my best friend? Do you know Brendan Hurley? He used to work at Even After All.
Okay, no.
He was the first person that I ever came out to. He was my best friend in school, and I had such a crush on him.
Where did you then go after Cares?
I went to, so it was literally a spur of the moment decision. Like, my mom picked me up from school and I was like, I don't want to freak you out, but I don't know what you need to do about this. I'm not walking into that school again. Yeah. I said, I don't know what you need to do about it. And I think she recognized that it wasn't just like, I don't want to go to school. It was like, I'm not going there. And she was like, oh my God. So we went to my voice training. And we drove past Abbott's College, Northcliffe, and they were like, year-round enrollments, whatever. So she was like, should we call here? I was like, at this point, call whoever you want.
Yeah.
And we did, and then the next, they answered there, right then and there, as we were driving to the thing.
I think there are a handful of schools that are there to catch the folks like yourself.
Yeah.
The people that, like, for whatever reason, need a change mid-semester.
Abbott's was that.
Okay.
And we were driving, they were like, we can see him tomorrow for an interview. I got there. My marks were all right at Cares. I am very academic. I'm very studious. Nope. I'm academic, not studious. I'm good at school. I don't sit and study and make no. Everyone used to laugh at me because I'd show up to school with a pen. No books, a pen, and I would be like, this is what we're working with today. I said, I can't write stuff down. I write very slowly in a hilariously slow way. Like very slowly. Okay. Noteworthy. My teachers used to always be like, you are not going to be able to do exams. And I was like, well, sorry.
What can you do? Yeah.
So I'd be like, I got to listen. And Abbott's, I went in for my interview. They were like, please do it and stay there. And then my marks like improved greatly because I didn't need to focus on like not dying. Yeah. So that was great. My fight or flight mode could like hang out and I could focus on like learning. Yeah, right. And then my marks improved greatly. I thrived. You just
got it done.
Yeah, yeah.
Because some people, that's their time. And life would never be the same or as cool as it was. Yeah. And for some people, it's like, you just got to get through this, man. You just got to get the high school behind you that real life can start.
Seeing people who peaked in high school,
there was
hectic.
Yeah, there was definitely that point with me. Like, as fine as it certainly was for me, there was definitely a feeling near the end where I was like, I am very ready to move on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be spoon-fed. I want to have my own life created for me.
it's also just like I had, and I think it was Cares that caused it, like a major issue with arbitrary authority.
For the sake of it, yeah.
Oh, there is nothing that kills me more than unnecessary bureaucracy.
Yeah.
The minute, I mean, I can't, that's also why I don't have a boss. I literally, the minute somebody starts telling me to do something in a way that is like condescending or something like that, which is
or just feels like it's a waste of time. Yeah.
Oh, I'm at a no. Me, a 14-year-old boy needing to interrupt my lesson to stand up from my chair out of respect for a 15-year-old boy that walked into my class, because that was the thing at Cares. You had to stand up and say good morning, sir, as a class to someone who is like even one grade above you. I'm like, girl,
what, when they were to come into the class,
into the classroom, the whole class would have to stand up
for some reason.
Why would
that person be there?
To relay a message to the teacher from another teacher,
Oh,
to
God.
drop off
Yeah.
a document,
Yeah.
to sit there.
Got it.
It was like,
just because
girl,
they were older.
I was like, y'all cannot do this to me. Y'all cannot convince me that this is right. And they still didn't. And I have that issue with authority to this day.
Yeah.
Which is why whenever people like the unnamed venue with, that I was talking about earlier sends me stupid shit like, hey, we're going to sue you for your comments or whatever. I'm always like, okay, so why haven't you? Why would you tell me? Why would you tell me? Why don't you just do it? I'm not afraid of people. And that's also why like fantasy movies and stuff like that always made me feel really good. It was like heroes, you know?
Yeah, conquering.
I was never a superhero doll, but I love a witch. I love a wizard.
Yeah.
I love an elf.
I watched Practical Magic for the first time in a while.
Studying.
I actually never watched it when I was a kid. Somehow it missed me, but
Okay.
we did it recently as our date night here, and it was
Cute.
nice. This like sort of witchiness.
I love. Have you seen The Craft?
I know of it, and I was very much a potential audience member when it came out, and it didn't come my way because the reports were, this is not for kids. This is a bit more sinister.
It was quite. It's like a cult classic, especially for gays. The cult. The Craft. What is her name?
Yeah, she's got an interesting
Big mouth.
real name. Yeah.
Big Mouth. Kind of like an Arab sounding name.
Yeah.
I need to remember her, but I'm
going to call it up while you
Fairuza
talk.
Balk.
Yeah.
Fairuza Balk. Fairuza Balk in that movie was every emo girl. If you see a girl walking around with a Jack Skellington tattoo on her, that diva was watching Fairuza Balk in The Craft doing that.
Okay.
It was everything to me.
When did that come to you?
I watched The Craft for the first time, I think, in 2012.
Okay, so it's much later.
Yeah.
So this is now. So what I'd like to do is, you now went to varsity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've got high school out of the way.
Yes.
Varsity was Wits.
Yes.
Okay, and you
Wits
said
indeed.
music.
Yes.
Lovely.
Studied music at Wits. That was really fun.
I'm trying to think, what years were that?
I was in FESMA's 4 years, so like 2016.
So was I.
Hectic.
That fees must fall. The fees have been trying to fall for a long time. We had days where lectures were cancelled and things like that. But that was
I was within.
I was 2005 till about 7.
Oh, what?
9.
So there were more?
Oh, dude, it's been going on for ages.
That's a gag. That's
Been
a
going
gag.
for ages.
Ours was very intense. We got shot. I got hit with rubber bullets. I got tear gas.
Yeah, there's a part of Wits that's cool because
I love it.
Wits has got this great tradition of always being the university where shit got real.
Absolutely. And
it
where
was very
people
cool when that
took
did
their
happen.
lives into their own hands. Tertiary education, especially in the way that we were fed you were telling us that in order to have a life, you needed to have that much money. Because all we heard the whole time was like, if you do not get your tertiary education, you will be a failure.
Yeah.
You will not make it, which is obviously not true.
Yeah.
But at the time you're sitting there going like, okay, cool, well then, am I not entitled to a life? We fought. Hey, we
you got
fought.
involved.
However, I will say something though. It was kind of like fighting, screaming, throwing up, and then I'd be like, okay, I literally can't miss this Portuguese tud, so I'm gonna go for like a quick second,
totally.
and be like,
Yeah.
I'm coming back though, just
Yeah.
Amanda, and then I'm like, and I'm they're learning Portuguese, and they'll be like, thank you so much, Ola, and then I'd be like, okay, let's fuck it up. So it was very kind of like that.
No, it was cool. I was there for it in my own way as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so the craft sort of was coming to you then at a bit of a later stage then. What hit you around varsity that...
That's, so once again, huge gag. As high school was ending, I entered my first relationship with this guy, lovely guy, Justin, who I think blocked me. But I see him all the time. He's a lovely guy. Worked with him. He's so sunny.
Was this your first...
My first ever boyfriend.
Your first ever
and the
boyfriend.
first person that I ever was in love with.
Had there been girlfriends in an attempt to see?
I mean, not
Or
in
were-
an
or were
attempt
you-
to see.
Where you were pretty clear?
I think I was very outwardly fruity, but there was a girl that I dated for 4 days in grade 7,
Okay.
which I don't think counts.
Was that more of a marketing strategy?
I think so. I think it was more of a like, oh, take a breather. Like, I don't need no one will think I'm gay now that I have a
Yeah.
girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
She turned out to be a lesbian.
Nice.
Fabulous stuff. Incredible work. I love to see it. So good for her. But
Okay, so now your first relationship, you're at varsity.
he was a film student.
Nice.
So I
Made you watch
only,
all sorts of shit.
and you listen, lovely guy.
So I did film at Wits, so
Okay.
I know what this
Hell yeah.
chap was probably exposed to.
We were watching the wildest shit. I mean, like I started watching like crazy stuff all the time. I mean, got introduced to The Lobster, and that director's
Okay,
like line of
yeah.
films. What's the director's name?
He Yorgos Lanthimos.
There we go. Work, bitch. But that was the first time. If I'm not mistaken, that's also an early A24 film.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the
right?
start of A24,
Yeah.
the distribution company finding their feet,
Yeah.
finding some of these weird films and getting them out there.
Yeah. So I had to. It's almost like I had to deal with films a lot.
Yeah,
We did it for 2 years.
Nice.
And here's the thing about my lovely first boyfriend. He was not studious. So I was like, proofreading a lot of essays and like working on a lot of his work with him, because I was also like, firstly, very overbearing, and secondly, to my dad, you're like 18 years old, and you're like,
Yeah.
I need to be the reason that you're alive. Like, I need you to need me. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna insert myself and
Yeah.
learn about everything so that I can like, do whatever.
yeah.
And so I got to know a lot of films from there. He studied at
Okay.
Open Window, so
Then
they would.
he wasn't at Wits.
No.
Okay, cool.
We started dating in high school. We were actually in high school together.
Okay.
Okay.
Open Window is a great school.
Yes, it is. Wait, it's very pretty. I don't
Yeah.
know about how great it is, but it's super pretty. I didn't go there.
Yeah.
And there would
Okay.
be like every like alternating Friday night was like a horror movie night where they go and watch like an indie horror film or like a Korean horror film or something, and then they'd have to like do a report on it or something.
Have you seen Dark Water?
I don't think so.
The original. It was later made as an American one, but I mean, you'd appreciate that. It's Korean.
Yeah.
Korean? Japanese? Shit. Japanese.
Okay. We'll do the
Um,
research.
Where what is petrifyingly scary is a little girl in a yellow
Period.
raincoat.
Already. Little girl, you've got
Little
me
girl
got.
in a yellow raincoat. It's the scariest fucking thing in the world.
As with dark water, I'm scared of water. Let me tell you something. Open
Yeah.
bodies of water,
Oh.
you got to be out your damn mind. You have
Okay.
got there's like that. Have you? When last were you in Sun City?
Quite a while ago. Yeah.
What do you remember that lake by the cabanas where they used to like take divas like parasailing and like
yeah.
you have got to be out your damn mind. They would make you fall into on purpose.
Yeah, they drop you when you parasail and then you.
Fall into the water I can't see under. If a fish touches me,
Crocodiles, man.
you know what? A crocodile, I don't know about it's just a
Yeah.
fish. I don't know what a fish is
Okay.
thinking about. I don't know
There
what
are
a
some fish that would just swim away, but like
the audacity. They
Some-
have the audacity.
something like a crocodile is going to do more than just
Yeah, I guess.
swim around you. Okay.
I'd rather be hurt than disgusted.
Okay, in that varsity time, can you think of some films off the top of your head?
Well, I mean, The Lobster was a standout. That
Lobster.
one really gagged me. I'm trying to think of some of the stuff that we had to work on together with Justin.
No, but The Lobster. He's got a new one coming out this year.
Work.
Yeah, which
Is it also incredibly
it looks
depressing?
wild.
Okay,
No,
stunning.
it looks a bit more fantastical, which I think
Okay.
you'd appreciate. But
Okay,
more
yay.
sci-fi. It's got Emma Stone in it.
Love sci-fi. And I love Emma Stone.
Yeah.
So that's really good news for me.
I think it'll be one of the sort of Oscar contenders.
Yay. That's
Yeah,
exciting. An
yeah.
Oscar sci-fi moment, like, since Interstellar hasn't really,
Yeah.
unless I'm not paying attention, which
No,
I'm
no.
kind of not.
No.
But
Okay.
thinking back on that time period as well, a lot of it did feel like work. So there was actually a period of time, especially after Justin and I broke up in 2017, where I wasn't like really watching anything or like consuming any media of that kind. Because
Okay.
I was like, well, now I don't need to see anything.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not doing it. I say
done
that,
your work.
but then one of the standout movies for me from 2017, which was when I was like in second year varsity, was Atomic Blonde. Atomic
Oh,
Blonde.
Cool.
Loved that.
It's Charlize Theron.
It's either Charlize Theron or Scarlett Johansson. It's one of the two.
No, I think it's Charlize.
Okay, slay. I feel like you're right. If there was a person who'd know, it would be you.
Yeah, yeah.
So I had like some standouts in that regard, but again, it was just always like comfort stuff for me. I do a lot of video games and a lot of like, I love long form narratives. So
Yeah, it was Charlize Theron.
and I was period king of knowledge. That's why you are the film guy. So I had like a lot of narrative stuff, and I took quite a long break from films. From then on, I did a lot of gaming and I did a lot of series. I love like,
Yeah.
and I got into horror.
Yeah.
From like going to all those things with Justin and like doing all that. I got into horror because when I was younger, I was petrified. I mean, like obviously that's the point, right?
Yeah.
But I was like scared. I remember in 2013 when I decided it's time for Friends, I was like, I spoke to some people and I was like, we're gonna go watch some movie. They were like, we're watching The Conjuring in cinemas. So I was like, y'all got to be out your mind. I went there with I'm not joking, with a sleep mask and earplugs.
Oh shit.
And I sat there with the sleep mask and the earplugs like this the whole time, like
Yeah.
just peeking underneath and then like hiding it away when it got like too intense.
There was a
sweating.
There was a film called Talk to Me that recently came
I
out.
watched Talk to Me.
Yeah.
I
cool.
just watched Talk to Me. What's the premise of it?
It's
again?
with the hand.
Yes.
that
And
sort of-
the teens get like possessed.
Yeah, and the teens have these parties where they communicate with the dead.
Truly
Fuck.
hectic.
Fuck me.
Truly hectic.
I wouldn't normally seek it out, but the video store got us at a premiere. We could invite some guests. We had so much fun.
Yeah,
but it was
it's-
a real like
Spooky.
spooky film.
It's really scary. I got into horror movies and stuff like that from then, but specifically not to go back to A24 on a film podcast. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Talking about A24, the film podcast. But Pearl and X, specifically Pearl. Have you seen it?
Pearl?
Yeah.
No.
Have you seen X?
No.
Oh my God. Okay, so they are
Pearl
it's
as in like pearl.
yeah,
Pearl.
Pearl. So X came out first.
Okay.
And let me just give you the premise. It's like it's the 70s, and it's a group of I guess they're performers, but it's like kind of just people trying to make it with like strippers and like just random guys. It's like
Okay.
whatever. And they're like, we're gonna film porn. This is
Okay.
gonna be our thing. It's like starting to get really big right now.
Okay.
Let's
This
do
is
it.
this is a film.
Yes. So
This is X.
This is X, which came
Okay.
out first. But
Okay.
chronologically, so it's part of 3 movies. The last one isn't out yet. All of which are starred in by Mia Goth. Excuse me. Mia Goth, by the way, was snubbed for an Oscar for Pearl.
Okay.
I have not. She has a 10-minute monologue at the end of Pearl where the camera just gets closer and closer to her face over the course of 10 minutes, where she like for the first time
Okay.
loudly
I've seen
admits.
this. I've seen this poster. Yeah.
Yeah, where the first time she loudly
Mia
admits
Goth.
that she is like a psychopath,
Okay.
and she's coming to terms with it. Have you
Okay,
seen
so
the?
she was in X as well.
Yes, she
Okay.
stars as many characters in X, kind of giving what's her name? She played the White Queen in Narnia. She was also in Suspiria, also an incredible
Tilda.
Tilda Swinton.
Good old
Energy.
Tilda Swinton.
Tildina. So
Okay.
and they go there and they're on this farm, and things go awry.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
But the film style, especially of the cinematography of Pearl, which came out later, but Pearl is about basically the lady's farm.
Yeah,
that
but it's
they
all in
were
the same universe.
It's all in the
kind of-
same. Yeah,
It's a sequel, so
yeah.
to speak.
Pearl takes place in like the 30s.
Okay. All right.
It is and her whole thing is she wants. Have you seen the memes of like, no, please, I want to be a star. I'm a star. Like she's
No,
screaming.
I haven't seen that, no.
You need to watch Pearl.
I think we have different meme algorithm bubbles.
You
Yeah.
need
Okay.
to watch Pearl.
Cool. I love this. I love the fact that here I am trying to help you rent something from our video store, but you're getting me. So, okay. At this point, I would love to ask what the film is you could settle down with,
That I can watch always.
that you can watch always. That if you had to marry it,
If I had to marry it.
you know, the one that's always there for you.
Um,
If there is a film yet.
Can it be a series and can
It
it
can
be Lord
be.
of the Rings?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I kind of hopped on about
Well,
it.
I mean,
but
that's a film. That's a film in general. It's a
Yo.
trilogy, but it's film. It's not a TV show. Yeah, the Peter Jackson.
well, it is a TV show now.
Yeah, well, now it is. Did you watch that?
I did watch it.
Did it
It's
deliver
not true to
the Thoth
the
material?
source material. It's not super true to source material, but you can tell that it's the most expensive show that was ever made because it is.
Yeah. No,
it's
that's rocket money.
unreal. It is literally unreal. $1 billion, and it
Yeah,
shows.
Yeah,
and it
and a
shows.
massive chunk of that was just to get the rights
Oh,
for a section
Incredible.
of Middle Earth
yeah.
literature.
Yeah, incredible.
Okay.
It was great visually, not fun for source material, but fun to watch. And it
Okay.
has that. You know what I love about
It was Rings of Power, is
Rings
what it
of
was
Power.
called, and it was
Yes.
on Amazon.
Yes. What I love about the Lord of the Rings films that I think is lost on Marvel and DC and other hero villain based kind of like things,
Sure.
as in like mystical heroes and like
Sure.
legends, is there is a kind of corny heroism that is so perfectly, to me, executed in Lord of the Rings, valiance that is executed in Lord of the Rings that doesn't come across in like Marvel movies, for example, where it's like, you know, fun one-liners and like
It's quippy. And,
and like quippy one-liners is like, we need to make sure the Earth is saved. Do 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 do, and then it's the next movie.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't like that.
Yeah, sure.
But in Lord of the Rings, it's like there are stakes.
Yeah.
People are
it
dying.
felt more real, despite it
in a
being
way-
completely fantastical.
Of course, in a way, and it's like, I obviously I need to say Peter Turin because I was thinking of Peter Jackson. Obviously, Peter Jackson captures that really perfectly from Tolkien's like writing and stuff.
Did you read the books?
I've read The Hobbit. I've read one of The Hobbit, and I want to start reading The Silmarillion.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to read Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, sure.
Because you know what? I fall asleep at night to Lord of the Rings lore discussion things. I'd like to do something I don't know about.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what I wish they did with Rings of Power, actually, because the Silmarillion is like where it's really kooky, ooky. You know, Lord of the Rings is kind of like there's armies and you can get it and follow, but like Silmarillion is like it's angels and giant spiders and like it's much more fantastical.
Okay,
There's
yeah.
nothing like
Was that something he wrote at the very end?
I'm not sure timeline-wise. I
Okay.
can't speak on that, but I know that the actual context of what's taking place happens thousands and thousands of years before the events of Lord of the Rings.
Oh, Silmarillion's a prequel.
Essentially,
okay. Yeah.
They talk about
Yeah, it was probably written afterwards.
yeah.
There's a whole army of people that are shouting at us right now, telling us what it is. But yeah, okay. No, but that's cool. So Lord of the Rings is your one.
Lord of the one to rule them all. Some may
Yeah,
say.
because that's what we like about the film you'll settle down with. Is it could have been your high school sweetheart, or it could have been your puppy love that you was always there for you, and
It
And that's
brings
what
me
you-
peace.
Yeah, that's
it
lovely.
brings me peace. Also, just like everything about it, I want to show you. Wow, you see, this is what happens when I'm off my phone for literally 1
Yeah,
second.
look at that. All those
Um,
messages.
Nightmare, and I don't reply to any of them. It's so great. I get anxious. The other day, I got invited to this costume party, and I was like, one of the things I've always really wanted to do was like, kind of like elven makeup kind of thing. And I was taking a break from drag, but I had all
Elf,
these costumes.
Like as in like an elf from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like I don't know, a more traditional, like the goal that I was going for was like wood elf. And after I did it, I think I did a 70%. I would give myself 7 out of 10 for the job, because considering it was the first time that I'd done any makeup like that before. But I was like, this is something I really want to do in my drag. Like Lord of the Rings kind of inspires me beyond just like peace and quiet. It like makes me want to work at it. Like when I did this kind of thing, hold on.
Oh wow.
Yeah, when I did
Okay,
like
I see what you're
proper
going
like elf, I wanted to look like an elf from Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Like, with the
yeah,
war paint
you're
and
sort
with-
of manly but done up.
Yes, exactly.
So you got
that.
this like fabulous hair, but you got like
Yes,
a
exactly.
manly beard and sort of
exactly.
warrior outfit.
And I had this like whole not even warrior outfit. I wanted to do like high elf, like kind of like
Oh, cool.
huge flowy royal court kind of stuff.
How much of your life is you literally just doing makeup?
You know, I'm pretty fast at it now.
Okay.
I'm
but
pretty
I mean,
fast,
is
but
it?
before
It's
it
like
was a
it's a
lot.
considerable chunk of your life.
Yeah.
Is the do up?
People don't realize, especially people who book me when I give them my fee. I'm like, you're not just booking me to show up. You're booking me for the 3 hours beforehand that
Okay.
I'm going to sit and rearrange
It's your
my
it's
face.
your sound check. It's your
Yeah.
setup. It's your
I look like a different person.
Yeah,
That's
and
the
the-
thing with my drag.
and the more hours that you have, the better your show and product is.
Yeah.
But would you say like a considerable chunk, like like a surprising amount of your life is you doing
Is me
makeup?
doing makeup? Not anymore, no.
Okay.
I would say last year was a lot. Last year, I mean, the whole thing that we sold it about this was like, you know, this is my 130th show this year. Like, let's do something big. I mean, that's already nearly 1,000 hours of just doing makeup.
Wild.
So I was like,
That's lovely, man.
yeah. I was like, girl, maybe.
So you've just had a big thing happen. Is there
Yeah.
something else coming up soon that you excited about?
Like right now, I'm kind of in chill mode. We obviously have our. It was kind of weird. Last night I did quiz night, and I was.
You host a quiz night?
I do. I host the quiz night.
The quiz night.
I
Okay,
do.
Where
I
is
host
that, where
the
does that
fiercest
happen?
street bar at a street bar named Desire.
Cool. In Rosebank.
Uh-huh.
When is
I-
that?
Every second Wednesday.
Cool.
So I host that quiz night. We've been doing that for years. One of my favorite. It's genuinely my favorite quiz night to go to, and I've been to a lot, and I do rate it as literally one of the best. Like people have the time of their lives.
Do you
We have
come up with
DJs.
the questions?
Yeah. We
Yeah.
write our own questions every week. We come up with our own stuff. We don't
Yeah.
source anything outside of us.
Lovely.
So it's always an original quiz every single time. And I was doing that, but it's quite a small gig compared to all the stuff that we've been doing. I was just on like Espresso, and I hosted Mr. Gay World 2 weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
And like, yeah, because they did it here. So I hosted that, which was like
Oh, world.
what?
Yeah.
Mr. Gay World.
Okay.
Like people flying up. I
I'm
think
sure
the-
that must have been a nice networking thing for you.
Of course it was, yes. And one of the people actually, he was first runner-up. He's from the UK, and he is friends with like so many artists that I like
Lovely.
inspired by. And he said, he replied to my post from, I sang I Dreamed a Dream on the tour, and he replied to my post from the video at the Pretoria stop. And he was like, if you're ever in London, please just let me know. I will
Yeah,
do
you've got a
whatever shows
friend.
you want.
Yeah.
Like, let's do something. It's like, wow.
What the you know, what is the section of these beauty pageants where you've got to do a performance or a
Yeah, the
show?
talent
The
section.
talent section.
Uh-huh.
The gay one must be fucking amazing.
Well, drag pageantry is it's one of the things that started drag in the US anyway.
But in the gay Mr. Gay, it's not drag, right?
No, okay.
Some of them did drag.
No one did drag, but except for Thailand. Thailand was serving. She was at the wrong pageant. She
Okay.
should have had her wig on.
What was some of the maybe we can end off with this. What were some of the fun highlights of the talent competition.
So the talent section, I mean, I don't know if there was like a big talent section per se, but there was a section about like your homegrown whatever, something.
Okay, something that's going to represent your country.
Yeah, your country.
Okay.
And the stuff that these folks, especially, oh my God, I have to speak on Thailand because I
Yeah.
think Thailand's entire presentation was the talent section.
Yeah.
There was Thailand, the representative from Thailand, which I love for Mr. Gay World.
Yeah.
I love that they didn't bring like a hyper masculine person. They brought a queen.
Yeah.
They brought an F slur to the
Yeah.
function. She was gay. So there was one of the sections, for example, was like the sport, like they had to have athletic wear. This little diva. Because everyone else was like, kind of like walking around and doing like whatever.
Showing a
This
bit of manliness.
diva, I could tell, was so committed to the bit, but had no idea what any of these sports entailed. Her plan was to do the presentation and do like a little bit of every sport.
Okay.
That she could think of. So she entered and she was like pretending to like throw a basketball, but in like the most homosexual way. Pretending to throw a basketball, and then he would like swing a bat and like play tennis. It was so stupid. And at the end he would like kick a ball and it'd be like and walk off. I was in stark contrast to every other person.
Yeah.
And I think the other contestants were sweating a little bit because the audience was like, where's Thailand?
Yeah, we love
Where's
Thailand.
Thailand at? We want Thailand back. So they were sweating bullets for Thailand.
Who won?
Guam.
Interesting.
Guam won. I hope he's not listening, but I was very shocked that he won.
Okay.
I thought that the presentation was very lackluster.
Okay.
And that the garments that were showcased, like, it wasn't great. But I don't know what they were doing leading up.
But sure, I mean, ultimately, also based on handsomeness. Or,
He was very handsome, but like, for example, I really do mean it. That guy that I met from the UK, his presentation was really fierce, and he's really handsome, and he did like for formal wear, he did something that can so easily be very corny because we see it all the time and very poorly executed. But for formal wear, he came out in like this outfit that said trans rights are human rights, but not in like a
on a suit. Sort
on
of
a suit,
stitched
but
on a
like,
suit.
rhinestoned onto a
Oh.
suit, but not in a way that made the suit look cheap. He looked
Okay.
like he was in an expensive garment, which is important, I think, for
Yeah.
pageantry. In an expensive garment that actually did have a really solid message, and he seemed like he believed everything that he was saying.
Yeah.
Some of the contestants I could tell were like not ready for a question.
Yeah.
They were not ready to be asked anything. They were like, "I am very gorgeous,
Oh.
so please don't ask me about children."
But yeah, I think that's the same with also the standard pageants, is that they can be pretty faces, but they
You
might
gotta
not.
think.
Like there's that one that went viral of the woman
South
answering
Africa
with the South Africas in the South Africa. Where everyone's like, why did we come up in this?
Winging it. I love it. Yes, anding too close to the sun.
Yeah.
Icarus, I'm telling you. But the pageant, it was great. They had like big fucking light up costumes.
Wait, and you hosted it.
I hosted it. Yes, I was the MC with
so
another
cool.
incredible MC. He used to be a really successful host. His name is Danilo Acquisto. He used to host on like Hectic 99 and on like SABC3 and Espresso and stuff. So I hosted it alongside him, and that was amazing.
But that's such a nice thing for your CV, and I think that could only lead to more gig. So
that's
cool.
the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal. Like at the end of the day,
It's relationship and reputation. At the end of my 30s, I could tell if someone says, "What's the one piece of advice?" It's like it's relationship and reputation.
yeah,
That's it.
hell yeah.
And you got to work really hard at that.
And you've got to deliver the goods. It's such a specific
Yeah,
combination.
that's the reputation. It's like knowing that you show up.
I tell my drag daughters this a lot. I have 2 drag daughters.
You're gonna have to explain what that is.
Basically like younger drag queens that more experienced drag queens mentor into like
Got it.
polished performers and polished personalities. At least my girls are personalities. So not in like a rude way.
And the
in like
irony is that they could be older than you, but because
Yes,
they
of course.
knew
Yeah, of course.
they're your daughter in this case.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool, Tim.
So
I'm learning every day.
Oh my god, guys!
Just
the more
my
you
mind
know.
is expanding.
Galaxy braining in the bioscope right now. I wish you guys could see it. So, so I always tell them, like, even literally today, I left my house and one of my daughters was there. I said, like, because I had an issue with a very big client that booked me, and we fought, and I'm a fighter. Oh, baby, I'm a fighter. And I was like, wait a minute, this is ridiculous. Why am I doing this? I was like, these people aren't my friends. I'm not like betrayed by these people. This is work. Apart from the fact that genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, I felt like a piece of shit for yelling and fighting, and it drains me to yell and fight, and they were actually doing their best, and it was just a series of really terrible mistakes.
Sure.
But I was explaining to my daughter Zavsky, because she's also feisty. I was like, use it, but the thing that I've learned the most is that when you hit your hand with a hammer by mistake, you don't yell at the hammer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Don't yell at the hammer. You won't break the hammer. Do not break your tool that you needed to hammer the nail in. Do not sever your connection that you needed to get a job. You don't need to be friends with people to keep civil, nice, lovely relationships with them such that you are guaranteed a continuous stream of income. It's like you're not going to break your tools to get your outcome.
It's sort of in the realm of don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Of course.
Yeah, to some degree,
even if it was the hammer that hurt you. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, cool, well, this is how we can improve next time, and this is how, you know, we can do whatever.
There's a long game, which is like,
of course,
you can play drag until you are one of those old cigarette smoking drag queens.
Which I hope I'm not.
No, but I'm saying that the job can be that.
Of course.
You know, you're not a sports person where you can only do this in your 20s.
Yeah, of course.
God help you that you are able to commentate. Otherwise it's a life of something
Pain.
else. But you got to see that bigger picture and how you hold people dear.
Yeah,
and is important. Yeah,
it's not about sucking up. It's about stoicism. It's about looking opportunity in the face and adapting instead of throwing your toys out of the cart. It's the same as drag queens like to fight with one another. Drag queens are rude and horrible. And my relationships with 90% of the drag queens that I've ever worked with is fantastic because I know how to have good relationships. But the girls that I have bad relationships with are because they are unrelentingly terrible to be around. And I say that with gusto. I mean it. Like, they are horrible to work with.
Yeah.
They are horrible.
But then you won't
to
include them and you won't do shows.
That's what I'm saying.
And
I am one of the biggest drag booking agents in our country.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you are making me, the person who is booking you, not want to even be in the same room as you.
Yeah.
There are many queens who I don't like, and that can go on the record. There are many queens who I don't like, but I will book.
Yeah.
Because I'm not booking, this is not RuPaul's best friend race.
Yeah.
I am not booking you because I like you. I'm booking you because I'm committed to the job, and you do a great job.
And you do a good job. Yeah.
I don't need you to be nice. I need you to be professional, and I need you to be civil. And that's what I try and tell people, or at least like the people that I have the opportunity to like mentor and work with.
But that could be, it's so funny. But I mean, that translates to literally everything.
Yeah. You don't need to be a bitch.
It's the music world. It's everything. Anyone's company is the same. So you
don't need to be a fucking nightmare. You actually don't.
Yeah.
And I can be. Trust me, I really, really can be. But it's because of that, and because of picking and choosing the right moments that our company has managed to open so many doors for drag artists.
Yeah.
And I myself have managed to make a full-time living off of doing drag in a way that gives me a good life.
Yeah,
you know,
that's great, man.
I'm a homeowner now.
Yeah,
I literally, I could have never expected when I was like destitute in 2021, being like, I guess I have to cross-dress at this bar,
or just that uncomfortable dude in Cares. Like,
absolutely, that I'd be like a 25-year-old homeowner because I'm a 26-year-old homeowner because I'm a drag queen.
But you'd also just be so happy and confident in yourself.
Of course. But again, it's not even like a self-aggrandizing thing. It's more a thing of like, you guys have to choose when to be strong and when to fight and when to do all that, because we have to. As drag artists, you have to fight for a little bit more respect generally. You have to like always be a bit more direct and a bit more demanding. Not need more things, but a bit more like, hey, why can't you guys give me a bottle of water?
But that's
Or
the same for any artist. Honestly, that's the same for a comic. That's the same for a musician.
Absolutely.
Where it's like you can respectfully say, I would like this and I would like that.
And it's always it's like different sides of the spectrum and why we need to fight. Like with musicians, especially as someone who is and was a full-time musician before, is like the mentality of always being like, well, there's a million of y'all, so we can just replace you. It doesn't matter. You don't need to do like whatever.
What were you playing?
And, I sing. I'm a singer, but I used to do keys and I wrote.
That's lovely.
So we got the whole shebang.
And all of that
here.
just comes into the
Right.
formula now.
Right.
It's great.
So I used to do that, and it's with drag. It's like you guys are clowns,
Yeah.
which was generally it's like we're doing you the favor by bringing you here, and you kind of have to be like, no. You're making money from me being here.
Yeah.
I'm making what you pay me. We're benefiting off each other, and that was the big thing that our company stood for. And like, it's just about picking and choosing your battles. That's the best
of
advice
course.
that I can give, especially to any drag queen.
And anyone. It's not just drag queens.
Yeah.
It's so funny how it's such a universal thing.
Yeah,
But listen, I think we could talk about this forever.
I think so too. I'm having fun.
I would love to rent you Dark Water. I think that'll be fun.
I will watch the hell up out of Dark
It's a
Water.
nice, scary Asian film.
Yes.
Just to take you back to those varsity horrors.
2016, baby.
But yeah, lovely, man. Thank you for
Russell,
popping in.
So honored to be here. Please invite me all the time.
No, it's. I just think that it's the chance for someone who perhaps doesn't know the scene or the world. I just can just get a glimpse into it, see how you operate. I think it's inspiring for someone to go, I can make a career out of my passion.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's lovely and also just how you build something on good foundations.
Yeah,
And you built it from a place of perhaps necessity, but you built it with integrity.
Thank
and
you.
that
so
those
nice.
things ultimately last.
Right.
So,
Right. I'm honored to be here, and I'm really, really, to be honest, like one of the biggest jumps in my career was because you guys gave me the space to do it.
oh, thanks.
Really.
It's
And
lovely
I
to be
mean
a part of
that.
it. We felt immediately that this was such a cool, different thing.
Mm.
I wanted the Bioscope to be a space that was friendly to all these kinds of things, and I love meeting new people that do it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just we're all everyone raises everyone. Whether you. Carla, who does the Life's a Queer Beret at us, or the Nightmares, everyone just raises everyone, and I think that's lovely.
Of
and
course.
let's get a drag extravaganza back.
Hell yeah! I mean, you're very much anticipated.
We just got to do it.
It's always super
nothing stopping us
anticipated.
from. We must just find the date and do it.
Well, literally, I mean,
Okay.
historically, every year so far, we've done it on the 18th of December. This time it's on a Monday though, so maybe
Okay.
the 17th,
Okay.
or maybe the 16th.
Okay, I will give you a date.
Okay,
And
yeah.
let's do it. Okay, and then maybe we time this episode. It should actually be timed accordingly.
Hell yeah.
To then promote that.
That's so
Lovely.
exciting. I
Okay,
love
cool.
to see it. Russell,
All right,
thank
Adam, thank you for your time, man.
Thank you.
Okay, cheers.
Bye.
All right, what a happy chap. I really appreciate a person who sings an answer to you. We've never had a guest sort of respond in song to answer a question, but super happy dude. And yeah, I just have lots of respect for all the work that he does.
Right.
And then when she performs, she's incredible.
Yeah, amazing.
The
Absolutely
most incredible voice, and just what a presence to have in our little cinema. So we recorded that in December, and we had every intention of trying to get the Christmas drag extravaganza back, but too much was going on his side. He was a bit overwhelmed, and we couldn't make it happen. But we had every intention of trying to bring it back. But hopefully the drag extravaganza can return. But I do speak about the other drag performers we've had at the Bioscope, one of which is Carla Marks, who puts on Life is a Queer Beret, and that's going to come in Feb.
Oh,
So
nice.
guys can look out for that and get
That
your
was a
tickets
fun show when I came.
at the Bioscope. That's nice because it's not just a one-person show. There's a whole troupe.
Yeah.
That was so funny. I didn't attend it myself. I had managers look after it, and I saw some of the footage afterwards. And like one of the drag performers was doing like a magic show that involved
Oh, that's the one
fire.
when I was here.
It involved fire, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And so I messaged Carla afterwards. I was like, "I think we need to know what everyone's going to do,
Yes.
and I just need to make sure that my cinema's okay."
Yes.
Because-
like right by your projector screen.
Yeah, with lots of respect to the performer, and
Yeah.
I'm sure they did a great job. But it's like accidents do happen,
Yes.
Yes.
and sometimes it can be out of your control, and like. Oh. But it's always fun and it's always amazing. One thing I wanted to clear up, which I know you guys will know, so I didn't need to do the research, is when did the Silmarillion come out as a book? Was it a
Silmarillion.
That's what I said.
No, you said Sil.
You
know the
threw a
DNA.
D in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Marillion.
Yes.
The Silmarillion.
Yeah.
I don't know why you think I'd know that. I know what they are. I don't know when it came out.
It was post Lord of the Rings.
It was
wasn't
post Lord.
Yeah.
It was post Lord of the Rings in terms of how Tolkien released it, right?
Yes, yeah.
Didn't
Um,
Christopher Tolkien release that? All the supplementary writings?
I've got a feeling they found
Possibly.
it and they put it together afterwards.
Yeah.
Like he'd perhaps already died by then.
Yes.
And then in terms of the universe, the contents of which is a prequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Okay.
creation, myth, Middle Earth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just to fill that in because when we're having the chat, we're like, I'm sure there's a bunch of Lord of the Rings
Yes.
fans that are like, never tell you. Well, actually. But yeah, lovely to have you guys. And of course, we spoke at the start of the day about the Bioscope doing this exciting upgrade.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's what's kept me busy this last week and kept the Bioscope a little quiet. So actually at the end of the week last week, I was like, I think I need to explain why you're not hearing much from us.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there were one or two people that responded with like, I was wondering what was happening to the Bioscope.
Yeah, my mom was doing a bake on Thursday. And then I was like, let me just check if there's no show. Oh, there's no show? There's no show on Thursday?
Yeah,
You
so-
didn't, I'll do them tomorrow. Yeah.
To the public, we started a bit quiet, but what was actually happening was this huge upgrade. So basically what it is that when cinemas around the world stopped screening off reel, they had to come up with a digital equivalent that not only kept a quality, but also enabled some sense of security. So basically, you get this very encrypted file that no one else can play. No one can play unless you get a key generated for you, and that key unlocks it specifically for your cinema. Your cinema room gets unlocked, and you can only get that file, you can only get that account, you can only get that film if it is a quality that the distributors are happy with.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a certain kind of projector. So like you can play, so the whole thing is called DCP, Digital Cinema Projection. You can get a DCP player on a laptop. You can play a DCP file, but you wouldn't get it. You wouldn't be able to have an account with these big distributors unless you've got a projector that they are happy with and a serial number that they like agree on.
Sure.
So it's to maintain that quality.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's exciting. And so the Bioscope obviously looked at it when we started back in 2010, and it was a cool million,
Yes.
well over $1 million, and we were like, oh no, we'll never be able to afford that. So we've always sat at this other table in our cinema world, right? We've done more local stuff, more independent, and then every now and again we've had to kind of ask a special favor to allow a distributor to give us this file without it being a DCP because we didn't have it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's tough and that's hard. And you got to go out hunting, and you got to be a very good hunter and a nimble hunter to find the right distributor that's willing to do this.
Yes.
Where now we've been able to set up accounts with the big distributors of films.
Yeah.
We are obviously, here's the most important part, not going to take every film.
Yes.
We still want some curation, and so the Bioscope is still going to choose the films that work for our audience and work as the Bioscope, which we'll get into as to what that is. But here are these like big pipelines with lots of films coming down.
Yeah.
And that's a big relief for me. That's exciting, where like the Joker, the new Joker
The Todd
film,
Phillips film, yeah.
it's coming. It's there. It's on a date. I can
Cool.
see it. I know exactly which date it's coming.
Okay.
Wild.
Give or take perhaps some delay.
Yes.
But it's pretty much guaranteed it'll be then, and that's quite exciting for the
Yeah.
Bioscope. So
That
we
is
can
amazing.
pre-sale, we can event.
Yeah.
The big question we asked ourselves in the beginning was, what's going to make the Bioscope different? Why would you come to the Bioscope if we're now just like any other cinema?
Yes.
But I think over the last 13 years, we've really built, and especially now with our location at 44 Stanley, we've built a lovely experience,
Yeah.
and we can do a great experience. And so now we can be your cinema of choice for these films, because we can perhaps have a special introduction, or we can have a discussion afterwards, or we
Yeah.
can play certain things before. We can have a cocktail that matches the film, or we can put the topping on the pizza.
Don't give
you know.
Steak and any ideas, dude.
Yeah. But we could do that because we're nimble, we're small,
Yes.
and
Yes.
we're boutique, and I think that's exciting.
It's really cool that, or to witness, and anyone that's been following the Bioscope over these years, to witness how the Bioscope's been built, and that you've done that without a DCP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you know the industry, it's like amazing. There's people that are like, what? How do you not have DCP?
Yeah.
And so and it was just one of those, like, we had to grow up in that sense. We had to do that, because just on the last little sort of industry point, which I think is interesting, is that the Bioscope always championed local films,
Yes.
and local films for many years, at least the history of the Bioscope, always did a cinema release. I don't think it necessarily did very well for South African films. It was always a challenge because, especially with mainstream cinemas, you'd be on for a week or two, and then when the new Spider-Man came out, like you unfortunately, there's only so many cinema rooms, and
Yes.
often the South African films did suffer.
Yeah.
But at the Bioscope, we always championed it and did it, right? But those filmmakers and those production companies are getting a lot of work for streamers, which is cool
Yes.
and exciting and great for them. They're probably making more than they could before. They're doing well. They're making great stuff. So I'm not saying it like a bad thing, but us as the cinema,
Yeah.
we're not getting that many films down that pipe.
Yeah.
And so that's when we were like,
Right.
okay, we've got to change our pipelines now. So we'll still do all that stuff. We'll still do the locals. We'll still do all the annual stuff that we do on certain days every
Yes.
year. You can still hire the Bioscope. So there'll still be all that we did.
Yeah.
But now when the holdovers comes around, when these films get released, and the release schedule's so exciting. Like, perhaps this can now get into the other films that are coming out this year, but there's like a sneaky little Ryan Gosling film that's going to come out middle of the year called The Fall Guy.
Oh, yes.
And no one's really talking about it because it's still quite far away. But
Yes.
it's him being that like funny Ryan Gosling, which we know is great.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, you saw it shine in Barbie. It showed up in Nice Guys, and
Yeah.
you know, when he started getting funny. You know, he was the dreamboat. Then he did everything he could to fight that image.
Yes.
Because he's like, I don't want to be the Hugh Grant romantic comedy, or I don't want to be the romance guy, the heartthrob. So,
Yeah.
so then he made some fucking crazy movies, like Only God Forgives,
Yes.
and like
Yo.
these are wild,
That
violent
was such
movies.
a heavy movie.
He did everything he could to break that persona.
Yeah.
But now he's having fun where he's getting more comical.
Yes.
And so a movie like that is perfect, I think, for the Bioscope.
Yeah.
We're not going to be pretentious art house. We're going to be fun, and I'm excited for the kids stuff.
Oh, yes.
Inside Out 2 is coming,
Yeah.
you know, and some of these older ones that I think you said, Cole, they're going to re-release a bunch that came out during COVID.
Yeah, it was
They're going to give them cinema
Luca,
releases.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, they announced like a whole stream of Oh, and Turning Red. Yeah, all the films that released during lockdown.
That's cool.
They're giving them a cinema re-release.
Because those were all like good movies that kind of flew under the radar.
Exactly.
And
Nice.
even this latest one, Wish, apparently is amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
I've heard nothing but bad things.
yeah, same.
Okay. Well,
I've been on the TikTok, like dragging it under the.
you guys, yeah, well, you guys are 30-year-old single males. Not single, but I mean, you don't have kids.
Excuse me, I also grew up on Disney. I love me a good Disney.
No, sure. But I heard from a good friend and listener of the podcast, Jenny, who has a kid, and she was like, it's great.
Yeah,
We
I
love it.
totally.
think that's
Sure.
something a lot of like the letterboxed crowd
Yes.
Yeah.
will ignore who the film's actually for.
No,
It's
totally.
for kids.
Yeah.
Totally.
So as long
Look
as
at it from that
does
point.
that.
Yeah.
But what have we been watching? What have we been enjoying?
So I haven't been watching a lot of movies because I've inadvertently fallen down a Pokemon rabbit hole again, which has got a bit of a story to it if you guys are keen to hear it. But then this weekend I watched Galaxy Quest because that landed on Netflix. We watched it recently, like
a
a year
great
ago or
movie.
something.
Did we?
Yeah, we watched it together again after a while. Maybe it was like in like
I don't
university
ever
or
remember
something.
watching it with you.
And it was
It's tremendous.
it's amazing. It's
Yeah,
so
It's a
funny.
lovely movie.
And then
quick back of the box of Galaxy Quest. Tim Allen is the sort of star of like
he's Captain Kirk.
yeah, it's like a Star Trek. I don't know
Yes.
whether it was quite serious.
No,
It
I
was
mean
a
like
more
they're very much
spoofy,
yeah.
but he was the star of a space TV show.
Yeah.
But he's just an actor. Meanwhile, actual aliens have tuned in to try and find someone to help them with their actual crisis
Yes.
out in another part of the
We
actual
have
galaxy.
been watching your historical archives.
And they've tapped into this TV show, the Star Trek TV show, and so they hunt down the actual actor
Yes.
played by a washed-up Tim Allen, and they get them to help them. But of course, they are just actors,
Yeah.
and they actually get to sort of live out their real, like what their TV show was. They get to live that out in real life.
Yes.
It's lovely.
It's tremendous. It's
It's a great film.
better than most actual Star Trek movies.
Yeah. Okay, so you watch that.
And then
That's
I
on
watched-
Netflix now.
Yeah, and then
Cool.
after that, I watched No Hard Feelings with Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Finally, because I've been wanting to watch that.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's the 2024 equivalent of like There's Something About Mary.
Yes. Yes. So
And,
that's now on
yeah.
Netflix too. hey?
Exactly.
Jennifer
Right.
Lawrence gets hired to sort of be the girlfriend of like a young introvert kid,
Yeah.
and obviously it's the somewhat of a romantic comedy, but it's one of those films where it's like one of them's got a secret, and it's going to come out at some point.
Yes.
But it was, when it came out, it was very much like we are trying to bring back the raunchy comedy,
Yes.
and it's okay.
It was fun.
It was
laughed.
fun.
I laughed a lot.
Okay.
It was hilariously
It's
funny.
interesting to see the raunchy comedy, which was a bit of a bad glass of milk. Now,
Yeah.
a lot of
And
those
also
are in,
very like a dude bro space.
yeah, a lot of those are in quite bad taste now.
Yes.
But it was interesting to see a 2023 version of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it's quite smart. It's quite quick in
Yeah.
that sense.
There was
It's
a
not-
lot of controversy around the age gap of the casting. 'Cause he
Okay.
was 21 and she was like early 30s. And
Yeah.
of course, it's the kind of thing where if it's an older woman, all the guys are like, yeah. you know?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting like space to play in. But I think that I read some interviews with the director talking about how they took a far more humanist approach to it. And you see that kind of play out where obviously the intentions are a bit nefarious and questionable at the start of it.
Right.
And then towards the end, I think the direction they take it in is actually pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, a bit
Nice.
predictable. And the guy who, Andrew something Feldman, I can't remember his full name, he sings a song in one scene in a restaurant and his voice is beautiful. So I was like, oh, did he really sing it on Google? And he is a Broadway actor that played in Dear Evan Hansen.
Oh,
okay.
Like, fuck, okay, cool. He's
Boy can sing.
yeah, he's really singing it. And he does this like cool little reduced solo piano arrangements of Man-Eater. And the director heard him singing and he was like, okay, cool. I want you to take this and run with it. And he arranged it all himself on piano. And it's really good.
Yeah, he performs it in the restaurant.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's
really
cool.
fucking cool.
Yeah, so you can look forward to that. You can look forward to Jennifer Lawrence beating up a bunch of dudes butt naked
Yeah,
on
it
a
was
beach.
fucking funny.
It's quite weird.
It's so funny watching
So
her
yeah, you see some things that you might
bully
never.
children. You're just like, this is wild.
She sort of punches a woman in the.
I know
Front
the
bottom.
one woman punches her in the vag, just like
Yeah.
straight up.
Wild.
Yeah, so it's
Hilarious.
raunchy, but you know what? I do think there's a place for that. I do think there's a place for some fun.
I was actually like kind of relieved that we had that film again.
yeah,
Okay.
Updated for these times. It was a good time.
yeah.
And then last night so I don't know if you know this. Ash Ketchum has been the hero of the Pokemon series since like 1997.
That's the boy with the hat.
Yes,
The boy
the
with
one
the
that never
hat,
ages. And like very frustrating if you were watching it.
The worst Pokemon trainer of all time.
Exactly.
Voiced by a woman
Yes.
who came to Comic-Con.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We didn't get her, which was annoying.
Yeah.
But he never wins. He does stupid things like give away his like super powerful Butterfree because it's in love. And yeah, you're just like, what are you doing?
This
dude?
is Ash.
Yeah, you want to be the very
Okay.
best. So everyone kind of, everyone around me kind of stopped watching, gave up, and we grew up a bit,
Yes.
But then we found out that they actually retired Ash as a character, and in the series, they made him become world champion, finally, in like 2021 or something. So I was like, I fell down this rabbit hole because my boss at work started collecting reprints. Well, not reprints. It's kind of just a new release of the original 151 Pokemon in a card series.
Right.
And to
Okay.
complete his set, he spends 2,000, the pound equivalent of 2,000 Rand on a Charizard hyper rare full illustration card to
My
finish his
lord.
deck. So I like kind of bought some Pokemon
This-
cards by myself, and I was like,
this is like you speaking another language to me.
I was like, oh my god, this is so hectic.
Yeah.
I fell deep into it, so I was like, fuck it, I'm watching the series. And then in the final battle where his Pikachu is fighting a Charizard, which is a perfect pairing for like the ultimate Pokemon battle. I'm pretty sure I shat a nerd turd. It was like
That's an expression I've never heard before.
because like when Pikachu's down on his knees, he's exhausted, and then he like kind of starts to black out, and then when he comes to in this like dream space, he sees the original Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charizard like wake him up, being like Bulbasaur, and he's like Squirtle, and then they wake him up, and then it goes through all the Pokemon that he's trained with, and Ash is like, yeah, Pikachu, everyone's got our back. And then they start playing the original Pokemon theme song, and then I peed myself from excitement. And it was like,
Where is this?
this is on Netflix. It's called
Okay.
Pokemon Journeys.
Okay, and is this the main
Yes,
series?
exactly.
Because for something like Pokemon, for me as an outsider, it feels overwhelming. Like there's
Yes.
movies, there's shows,
Yeah.
and there's
games,
hundreds
there's-
of them.
There's a whole world, right?
You really don't have to watch it all, because what
No,
they do
no.
at the start of this is they kind of blank slate Ash. They kind of acknowledge parts of his past, but then they do a new thing where there's a new competition that's global, and
Okay.
they carry it on. But
Are
it
you-
is extensive and a bit tedious.
Are
but,
you the kind of guys that are still playing Pokemon Go?
I was playing it right now when we went to
Oh,
go
yes.
get coffee.
Yeah.
And this Saturday, I went to the Pokemon Go Community Day at Emerentia.
Oh.
Okay, so the answer is a big fat yes,
Yes.
for Cole. So yeah, I always noticed that when Pokemon Go came out, it was like, okay, this is going to be a global phenomenon because it's such a new, exciting way of gaming.
Yes.
But I was like, this will peter out, and it'll then just be with the Pokemon community.
Yeah.
I know.
So you've been able to play it for all these years.
Yeah, there are still millions of players, and they update it. There's still like
Sure.
events that
Yeah,
happen
yeah.
every like bi-monthly.
Right.
It's rad. I love it.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm still
Okay.
very much a Pokemon nerd.
Pooing a nerd turd. Wow.
Poot.
Jesus. GeForce?
Yo.
Over on your side?
Oh, Lord, I've barely watched anything lately. The only thing I've watched recently, I'm going to be brief, is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, because I just reread all the books.
Oh, cool. I need to
Amazing.
rewatch the movie because
Just-
I read the book.
Yeah, I just read the books. The movie's not that great.
Yeah.
I think it kind of misses the point.
I read, I saw the movie first and then was like, I should. This was, I think Hitchhikers was probably the start of my, I need to read some classic books.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
About a year or two ago, I was like, okay, let's do it.
Yes.
So that's when it was like Hitchhikers, and then obviously June took me the majority of last year. I read this. It's obviously a stage play, Streetcar Named Desire, and
Oh, yes.
Breakfast at Tiffany's, and I'm loving all of it.
Cool.
Okay, so for you, the Hitchhikers movie.
Yeah,
It just
like
doesn't-
it's reasonably well cast.
Yeah, with all Mos Def and
Yeah, that's a great
Martin
bit. That's like quite an inspired bit of casting. Mos Def as Ford Prefect.
Is that anywhere? No. Did you just?
I got it on Apple TV. I
Okay,
just rented it
you
through
rented
Apple.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, read the books. The books are
Yeah,
tremendous.
they are lovely.
I
And
remember
weird. And I
when,
think the reason why it's so difficult is because they're not really like narrative driven. They're just
Exactly.
like conceptual, like whatever idea Douglas Adams was having at the time, he tried to like work around these weird characters.
Yeah.
And they're fantastic books.
I remember
No,
when
they-
I read that, I realized I can't read it in public
Oh yes,
because I would
you're gonna
laugh
be giggling.
so hard,
Yeah.
like but out loud. I couldn't like stifle the laughter. It is one of the funniest things you'll ever experience.
Yeah.
That book, it is
Yeah.
so good.
And yeah, I remember reading this whatever version it was, the
Yeah.
50th anniversary or 20th anniversary or whatever.
Mm.
And in the preface, someone was saying like, you know, when this came out, this was the book that got passed around. You
Yes.
know, like the early version of like a sort of viral movie or TV
Yeah.
show, right? And so he associates it with being this like scuffed book.
Oh right.
And I was obviously I'd bought it pristine, and
Nice.
I also like to keep my books pristine.
Yes.
I want to, but when I read that, I was like, I want to scuff this. And so when I read it, I wasn't afraid to sort of bend the pages
Yes.
and
Yeah.
bend the book. I was like, I want to have a scuffed version
Yes.
of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
You were talking about reading more classics,
Yeah,
which is weirdly serendipitous because I went to Jonathan Rocksmith's house for Christmas
oh nice.
and hung out with a few of his mates. And I was talking to his partner, Chris, who's read like 52 books last year.
Yes.
Wild.
Like a voracious reader. And I was saying that my goal for 2024 is to try get into classics.
Right.
Yeah, I read 1984.
Oh,
You know,
brilliant.
Animal Farm. It's like all
Oh,
the all
yes.
this like. 'cause
Exactly.
There's a Japanese word for this, and I wish it was an easier to remember word.
It's Sundoku.
Sundoku,
Yeah.
Right.
which is the need to buy books that you believe you'll like
Oh,
someday
yes.
read,
Yes.
but you might not. But you buy them because you feel you have to
Yes.
own them to read them. So
I have every single James Bond book.
Wild. How many are
have
there?
you read them?
No. I read
Yeah.
the first one and I was like, these are pretty boring.
Yeah,
Shit.
I bought. Remember when exclusive books used to have those? They'd have
Yeah.
a sale every January.
Yes.
So I got like a whole thing of all of the James Bond books for like $200 or something. So I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
cool.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
worth it.
But this guy, Chris, said to me, oh, start with Dracula. Read Dracula.
Oh, I really want to read Dracula.
And he's like, it's cool, it's queer, and it's like written in an interesting way through diary entries, and it's really amazing. And then John's other friend, who they like travel quite a bit with, and she's hilariously funny. Used to be an English teacher, and she heard us having this conversation. Went, excuse me, you have to read The Great Gatsby first. Have you read it? And I'm like, no, it wasn't a set work in school, and I just haven't
Yeah,
gotten
I
around
also
to it.
Yes.
not read it.
And she went on this like
As to
15-minute
why.
rant
Yeah.
as to why it's the greatest book ever written.
Right.
And I was like, okay, cool. Now I have to choose between Gatsby and Dracula.
Well,
A choice.
just get started.
No,
Yes.
exactly.
Frankenstein. Read Frankenstein. Great book. It's fantastic.
Is that the first horror?
We spoke about this the other day.
I don't know. I think it might be like the first like science fiction sort of themed horror.
Okay.
But the
In a
big
way.
story behind Frankenstein is the fact that the woman,
Yes.
Very
Mary
shitty.
Yeah.
in a time when, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like women authors just didn't exist.
Yeah, just about. yeah.
Hectic.
So it was amazing that came through.
Yeah.
I've got a nice little gem.
Oh.
I think we should come up with a shelf
Yes.
for this kind of movie.
And we need to use our shelves
And
when
we need
come
to
up
use
with
our
them.
shelves at the video store.
Yeah.
Maybe we can come up with a name together. But the name I'm thinking of is like a solid heart warmer.
Right.
Like a guaranteed nice night movie. Do you know what I mean? Like easy but not stupid.
Right.
So that's why like some kind of gem, I don't know, but just like a solid. Solid's the word I'm trying to look for, where it's like it's not dumb.
Right.
It's not a fall asleep show, but it's not too challenging. It's perfect.
Cool.
So maybe a lot of people have already watched it, but if you need a guaranteed good film, Kodachrome on Netflix. Kodachrome.
Kodachrome.
Yeah, so it is named after the type of film
Yeah.
that I think Kodak made at one point, a specific
Aye.
kind of film called Kodachrome. back in the day when we used to take film photos and we developed them, you have most of us had used a normal kind of film. It was called C41, I think.
Okay.
I used to work, fun fact, my high school job was working at a photo developing place.
Wild.
And that gives you the negative, which
Yeah.
if you remember, you got the negative sheet. So it was quite hard to see your photos because they were in negative.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, of course, you then printed them, but you got the negative sheet to keep. Then there was slide film,
Yes.
which was enabled you to cut those out and make them as slides.
Yeah,
so they
the
used
slide
different.
projector.
I'm talking around this.
Yes.
Let's get to the movie. But basically, there is this kind of film called Kodachrome, and it is about to stop being developed. And
Right.
there is one more place, one photo developing place in this middle of nowhere little town that can still do Kodachrome, and they're about to close.
Right.
Okay. Jason Sudeikis is a young guy working in a record label, and he gets a call that his dad, played by Ed Harris, is sick and
Right.
about to die. They've got this estranged relationship, and he must come and meet him. And the idea is that there's one roll of film that Ed Harris, who's a famous photographer, has that he wants to develop, and they want to take a road trip to this place, and Jason Sudeikis must come with.
Right.
But he's like, I don't fucking like my dad. He was never there for me. And so it's all about this father and son road trip.
Estrangement, yeah.
The nurse who looked after Ed Harris, who's looking after Ed Harris, is Elizabeth Olsen. So immediately there's like a little romantic
Right.
opportunity there for those two.
Yes.
But it's a road trip movie, and it's all about father and son. You obviously get more about their relationship as they try to get to this place to develop this film.
Cool.
That
Kodachrome,
is stunning.
Kodachrome on Netflix.
Oh, Bruce Greenwood's in it. I'm
I was
sold.
about to say.
Who's Bruce Greenwood?
Bruce Greenwood's Uncle Dean.
This guy.
Yeah,
He's tremendous.
Yeah, so you get the idea that Ed Harris was this very famous photographer,
Right.
but like war journalist, and has traveled and has done things, but seemed to have abandoned Jason Sudeikis at quite a young age.
Right.
And that chap, Greenwood, was the uncle who he basically grew up with.
Cool.
For anyone listening, they'd probably recognize him from Gerald's Game.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
And
Graeme
Star
and-
Trek.
Yeah, Graeme and I know him from Star Trek.
Yeah.
And Batman. Batman. He's a great Batman.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. He did voice Batman.
Yeah, and Young Justice.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
He's no Kevin Conroy, but he's good.
Yeah, he's good.
Lovely. Great, guys. I think that's perhaps all we've got time for today.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk Golden Globes?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's perhaps just hit the little highlight
Cool.
or two. We are now in the exciting award season.
Yeah.
It's bubbling up.
Yeah, and hopefully, like, because the hype around, I think, especially the South African market, our routine is to wait until the nominations happen, and then we start getting all the films.
Yes.
You know, so hopefully, like with your DCP, this is going to be the place to check out
Right.
awards season.
Exactly. No, we've got this thing at the right time.
Yeah.
Because we can play some of the films that have been saved for now.
Exactly.
Because it's all about timing, right? So
Yeah.
with the Oscars, if you are nominated, you've obviously got to be within a certain window, but you then need to market yourself to all the people that need to vote for you. If you are a part of the Academy, and which are members of people in the film industry around the world, previous winners, obviously a lot of them live in America, but the people who are inducted or a part of this Academy of Arts and Sciences.
Yes.
And so it actually becomes, and we've spoken about this before, but it actually becomes basically like a political race. It's a little bit like you trying to become president.
Yeah.
What do you need to do? You got to go to town by town, rally by rally, banquet by banquet
Yeah.
to remind everyone, hey, vote for me.
Yeah.
So you got to throw these parties. So it certainly helps if your film is being released in and around the time people have to vote,
Yeah.
or at least fresh in their memory.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of really great films will come out in December, Jan, Feb,
Yeah.
in and around this award season.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
So who were some of the nice winners?
Okay, I'm just going to go through some of them that are in. I'm just going through the order that's on the Golden Globes website. We have Best Director Motion Picture, Chris Nolan.
Cool.
for
Okay.
Oppenheimer. I think
Nice.
that's a pretty solid choice
Yeah.
because it's a pretty big year for that. I think it's cool. Celine's Song for Past Lives was nominated, like first
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
Amazing.
awesome.
That is hectic.
Yeah.
Greta Gerwig, Mon Scorsese, Yorgos Lanthimos,
Mm.
Bradley Cooper,
Poor
all
things.
nominated. Yeah. Boy and the Heron got Best Animated Feature.
It won, hey.
Yeah.
And that was his first Miyazaki. That was his first Golden Globe,
yeah.
and he's like in his late 80s.
Yes.
That's bizarre, man.
Well, kind of, but you remember, like, it's not the Best Animated Features are relatively new.
Oh, for the Golden Globes.
Well,
yeah,
just in
even
general.
for Oscars, there hasn't
Yes.
always been. It was the first. I mean, the first one at the Oscars was Shrek, so that was 2001.
Let's check this out. I remember Beauty and the Beast
Was nominated for Best
Best
Picture.
film.
was
yeah.
best film, and that's
Yes.
what started the debate.
Yes.
That perhaps there should be a best
Yeah.
animated film and that it should be separated.
Yes.
Mm.
So I think it was shortly after that
Yeah.
that they created the category for best
Yes.
animated.
I think it was because Shrek was the first one that won it, and I think that was 2001.
Wild.
And I mean,
Shrek.
and you think about it, Miyazaki's only released like 3 films maybe since then.
Sure.
So there's not like a huge amount of opportunity for that. But okay, yeah. What else do we want? Best Motion Picture Drama, Oppenheimer again.
Cool.
Best Motion Picture Musical or Comedy. This is something like
The weirdest.
yes, the way they
category.
like divide those categories
Yeah.
is super weird. But that was Poor Things.
Interesting.
So it's a comedy.
I'd probably, I don't know, maybe it's a dark comedy.
looks-
Yes,
yeah, it looks
that's,
ridiculous.
That's what that's the impression that I've gotten. Here's one: Best Motion Picture Non-English Language, Anatomy of a Fall. Which
wanna
can we
watch
talk
that.
about that coming? You said that's coming to the bioscope.
No, that what we were talking about was Zone of Interest.
Zone of interest. Okay,
But
cool.
Anatomy of a Fall,
You should get that.
it looks interesting.
It does look
Like
interesting.
a lot of people, it's in their like top 3 for the year. A lot
Yeah.
of the critics are following.
Zone of Interest won at Cannes last year.
yes, yeah.
Hey.
I don't know what language it's in.
Mm.
The trailer is very arty. The trailer is just clips of the movie with intercut with everyone going like, "This is a masterpiece," but the
Right.
trailer gives you very little in terms of narrative.
It's
Okay.
art. It is cinema.
It's World War II. That's kind of all we know at this point.
Okay.
It's a bit of a Holocaust-y thing.
Okay.
You know,
Interesting. Best Score, Oppenheimer again.
Cool.
Ludwig
Well deserved.
Göransson.
yeah. I really enjoyed listening to his stuff in Tenet.
Yes,
Oh,
his
really?
Tenet score is really cool.
That was
It's
really
very
I didn't pay
interesting.
attention. I must go back and listen to the soundtrack without the movie.
cool.
You must watch the movie again though.
I'll give it like I said. I'll give it like 3 years and with
And then-
subtitles.
I watched
and then
it
I
on
watch
the,
it.
I watched it on the plane.
Mm.
Oh,
we
really?
spoke about it last week.
With subtitles? Or without?
Tenet,
Yeah.
no subtitles.
Oh, did you understand what they were saying?
I feel like I got like enough to get by.
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't.
There's a big chunk of that movie I was like, I don't have the capacity. I'm very tired to be watching this. Like, I've chosen to watch this on the wrong flight at the
Yes.
wrong time of day. But I was like, I'm in. And I was like, I think I get this.
Yeah.
I think I understand.
Yeah.
But like the guy who edits a bunch of stuff for Weekly Planet, which we've spoken about before,
Yes.
he has a channel called Ben from Canada.
Okay.
Watch his video on Tenet and then go and watch Tenet.
Okay, cool.
It's really cool. I also need to watch it again. But best song, we were actually talking about this just before that, was the Billie Eilish song from...
No.
Yeah,
Oh, Billie Eilish won the Golden Globe.
yes.
I'm Just Ken won Critics' Choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Billie Eilish song is more like
Beautiful.
deserving.
Yeah,
in a way.
100%.
Like, it's a much more...
Is Billie Eilish about to win her second Oscar?
Probably.
That would be wild, dude.
What was the first one?
James Bond.
James Bond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best performance, female actress, motion picture, Lily Gladstone.
Ooh.
Very well
Saw that
deserved.
coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was one of those people. That's for Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yes.
She was one of those actresses that was like about to pack it in.
Oh, really?
Really?
She was like, I've kind of had enough because
Wow.
it's your whole life is filled with rejection.
Mm.
Sure.
And she was like, I think I'm going to start looking at something else. And then she
Yes.
got that job.
Wow.
Wild.
Yeah.
That is a cool story.
Yeah.
Same with old John Krasinski. He tells a great story about how he's like, my mom was a big supporter, and she's like, go out, give yourself 5 years or 10 years or whatever it is, try.
Yes.
Because she says, and you got to pull yourself out because I don't want to be I can't be the parent that tells you to give up on your dream.
Yes.
Right.
and it was near the end of the year, and he was like, "I'm coming home, Mom. Like, this is too hard." Like in the last bit of auditioning and probably like being a barman in LA, and the mom was like, "Okay, well, it's September. Like, give yourself 2 more months."
Right.
And like a week or two later, he got the office.
Wow.
And of course, his whole life changed.
Yes. Kiefer Sutherland as well was going to quit acting. He was going to go become a freaking rodeo, like, entertaining rider thing.
Oh, wow.
And then he landed 24.
That is
Wild.
wild.
Completely, like, restarted his career. Best actor, motion picture, Cillian Murphy, obviously.
Okay, for Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
I'm
that's-
interested in best supporting actor.
Best supporting actor, let me find it. Oh, best supporting actor, motion picture, Robert Downey Jr.
Good.
Yes.
Okay.
Good,
agree.
well deserved.
That's a pretty, that category as well. We have Mark Ruffalo, Robert De Niro, Ryan Gosling, Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
pretty big one.
Is Willem Dafoe for
Poor Things.
Poor Things?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Mark Ruffalo as well. Also Poor Things. This is one I want to talk about because this is perplexing. Cinematic and box office achievement. That's an
Oh.
award now.
Oh, that
And
is
I'm like-
such a circle jerk. Sorry.
Yes.
No, but surely it's the one that's achieved the most. Just wins it.
Why
I
do
don't
we
know
need
how
to
you
award that? They get money.
Yeah.
But like, how do you
No, but
qualify
I mean, it's
that
like,
though? Because
exactly, it should just go to the one that
But it
does
says
the,
cinematic.
cinematic and box office achievement. So Barbie won it.
okay.
I almost feel like they were looking at this. They had all their nominees and they were starting to get stuff, and they were like, "Shit, Barbie hasn't won anything. We need to give it a category so that it can win."
So we don't get
Interesting.
bad press for not giving Barbie awards because it was the
But-
best performer of the year.
Surely, just the movie that just makes the most money isn't automatically the winner. Surely, it's the most profitable movie,
Okay, I was about to say,
Yes.
then,
which Barbie isn't. Mario
really?
Brothers was the most profitable movie of the year
Oh,
because it made
hectic.
about the same amount of money, but it cost like at least $50 million less.
Wild.
But then also, I find it perplexing some of the stuff they did or didn't nominate. It's like, because Fast X made more money than than a lot of the ones on this list, but they're going like, "Oh no, we're not going to nominate
We're
a
not
Fast
going to
and
give Vin
Furious movie."
Diesel an award.
But they nominated Mission Impossible, which lost money. It's not a profitable movie.
So
yeah, I guess this just sounds wanky because I was about to say, perhaps we can close off on this
Yes.
unless there's any other shining winners to mention, is that the Golden Globes is a quite confused and somewhat controversial award ceremony.
Right.
It came out of quite bad press. It was the Hollywood foreign press, right?
Yes.
Right.
That vote for it. And they got quite a lot of scrutiny, especially last year with Brendan Fraser.
yes,
okay.
Because
boycotting the
because
ceremony.
he didn't want to be a part of it because of his legacy with the Hollywood foreign press, where
yes.
the head of this body
Yes.
was the dude, right?
Yes,
Who like sexually
Yeah.
harassed him.
harassed him.
Yeah, Like
and
groped
so
him,
Yeah.
and so the whole idea of the Hollywood foreign press, which also
Yes.
just doesn't make much sense. What is that? Is that people outside of America?
I don't know.
I don't know what
I've
the fuck
never
that
looked
is.
Into it.
So, anyways, but it sounds like this year they've renamed that body.
Oh.
So this year they were talking about that voting body as being a different name,
Right.
and they have another name now.
Huh.
So it's interesting. So it's like this year was a shift in politics
Right.
around how the Golden Globes work. But
Okay.
there was also a funny criticism of like, this doesn't matter.
Okay, yeah, here you go. The Hollywood Foreign Press Association. Philanthropic activities will continue separately as a non-profit entity, the Golden Globes Foundation.
Yeah.
The HFPA was dissolved on June 12, 2023. So the Hollywood Foreign Press Association doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, boys.
Yo.
Yeah, let's call it a day.
Yeah. It's been a lovely day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate both of you and I appreciate you guys listening. If you are still listening,
Yeah.
Well done.
thank you for having us be your podcast of choice right now.
Yeah.
It's a treat. Our home base, if you don't know, is thevideostore.co.za. You can see links to some past episodes, so please go back and listen to some others. We've tried to divide them by category so you can see some of the other guests, and we need to add more.
Cool.
We need to still populate that. Whenever I find the time, I add a few more episodes to different categories. But you can certainly see the last few. And please chime in on social media.
Yeah.
It's always nice to hear from you. And let us know what you're watching. And just post like reviews on Facebook,
Yeah.
on the Facebook group. Just like, I watched this. everyone else should, you can also be
Give us
someone that
ideas for what
helps.
we should talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can be someone else that also helps people, like recommend stuff to other people. All right, lekker chums.
Nice.
Sweet. We'll see you again next week.
Yeah.
Ta-ta.
Okay, bye
Bye bye.
Ta-ta.
for now.